Speed. Boom is for guide. This is take 4 and 7.
Cool. Yeah, turn him.
Okay, please state your name and how you were involved with reverse speech.
My name is Mary Claire Carlisle Broad Davis. I know it's a bit of a mouthful. And I'm a client of David Oates. I do reverse speech with David.
What are you about to do right now?
I'm about to have a session with David. It's the first of 7 sessions. So I'll be sharing with him what I'm interested in changing my life. So essentially, I'm going to be asking him to align my unconscious mind to what I consciously want.
So, we're going to do that again.
Okay.
This time you're going to look, I want her to look at the camera this time because she's...
This camera or this
camera?
That's
Okay.
right.
Okay.
So you're going to ask the same question again,
Okay.
and then I am going to click my fingers, or just raise my hand,
Okay.
and at that point you're going to look down at Skype.
Oh, okay.
Okay, just,
Okay.
it's easier if I just simulate this stuff. Okay, so look not directly at the camera, just to the right. If Paul just puts his hand out, you're going to
Okay.
look here.
Yeah.
Okay. What are you about to do right now?
I'm about to have a session with David on reverse speech. That sounded a bit... I'm about to have a session with David.
Okay, and
I'm about to have a session with David.
Let's try that again, and a little bit more giddiness, excited, like maybe a bit of nerves.
Right, okay.
do you want to say reverse speech as well in there?
Session with David is fine because we're framing it in
Okay.
before.
Once.
I'm about to have a session with David.
Can I just get out?
Yeah. Can you just try not to move so much,
Right,
just
okay,
because the.
Be
sorry.
getting excited, but don't move. Right. I'm about to have a session with David.
What are you anticipating?
Oh, I'm really excited. I'm always excited for working with David because I'm excited to know what my unconscious has to say about what I want.
How many sessions have you had with David previously?
Oh, I can't remember. I've worked with David for quite a few years now, so I've had a number of sessions with him. I always look forward to them.
What kind of results have you had with David?
Quite amazing, particularly in the area of money. Really quite incredible.
Name specific example.
Okay, specifically, if I can share a little about what happens in the reverse speech technology sessions. So, in the first call, I will say what I want. I wanted more money. And the second call, he'll play back the reversals and I hear what's going on. And the third call is the interesting one, because that's the one where he asks me, what do I need to do to have more money? And David works with the unconscious mind, so it's very often spoken in metaphors. And typically, if you want more money, typically the metaphor that the unconscious mind will give you is that your wolf, which is a metaphor for your drive, your protector, your provider, wants to go hunting rabbits. And the more rabbits that you kill and eat as a wolf, the more money you attract. Now, when David asked my unconscious what it needed to do to have more money, my unconscious didn't want to hunt rabbits, it wanted to hunt deer. So he took my wolf hunting for deer. But my wolf didn't just want to hunt deer.
Let's just start that. So I like this story a lot.
Okay.
So we're gonna restart the story again.
Okay.
This time, try and start it with David. David used the following metaphor to describe my reversal or something like that. A wolf. I was seeing a wolf hunting, trying to tell it like a story, because I'm thinking we could even do animation or something, to show over the story.
Yeah.
So try and remove some of the fluff and go. David explained what was wrong in a metaphor. The metaphor was something like that.
Okay. Remember I'm starting. Start now. Where am I starting? Okay, it's really exciting where money was concerned, because David will ask my unconscious what I need to do to have more money. And typically our unconscious speaks in metaphors. And the most typical metaphor for having more money is for your wolf, which represents your drive, your provider, to go hunting rabbits. Well, when he asked my unconscious created the wolf, but it didn't want to hunt rabbits, it wanted to hunt deer. And as it hunt and ate lots of deer and fattened up, the really exciting thing was that my wolf then wanted to hunt a massive mammoth. And what that meant was that my unconscious was saying I was ready to have a massive financial opportunity come into my lap. It's so exciting. And so that's what clearly happened. I had the mammoth. I remember distinctly my boyfriend being really jealous because his unconscious hadn't come up with the mammoth. And what was very interesting is what happened afterwards. So I was inspired to go on a silent meditation retreat for a whole week. And there was one other lady on the retreat, and her name was Sue Kay. She was 70-year-old, don't know much about her because we were in silence. And at the end of the retreat, I went to an event and I was introduced to a lady, and I said, "What do you do?" She said, "I work with tropical skincare with Lord Sugar." And every cell in my body went, "I'm meant to do that." And I said, "I'm going to do that, I'm going to do that. By the way, what's your name again?" And she said, "My name is Sue Kay." So she had exactly the same name as a woman I just spent a whole week in silence with, following the reversal with David. And I joined Tropic, and in under 2 years, I had £1 million business. And it is going so fast, it's unbelievable. It's almost out of control. It's just me in my flow. It's so exciting. It's helping lots of other women earn more money as well. So for me, reverse speech made a massive difference in my life.
Great, perfect. So I'm just going to ask you very quickly a few of the kind of standard questions you've been asking people, just to get, so we can cut you into those,
Right.
and then we'll do the Skype call.
Okay.
So the first one is, what is reverse speech? Can you describe it in a few words or sentences?
Where am I looking?
You're still looking at Paul.
Right. For me, reverse speech is literally having the ability to align what you consciously want with your unconscious. So what David discovered was that when you record somebody speaking consciously and play it backwards, you access the words of the unconscious, which for me is amazing. It's like the Holy Grail. I've done a lot of work with the unconscious mind, but most work with the unconscious mind is guesswork. You know, you might guess that the unconscious is in agreement or not, but you don't know for sure. With David and reverse speech, you can actually hear the voice of the unconscious mind. So there's no question.
Perfect. Again, over there. What is a reversal?
A reversal in reverse speech is literally the words of your unconscious mind.
What is your opinion of David?
I think David is a very, very special soul. I think he's clearly found his life's purpose. I think he's deeply spiritual in a beautiful, simple way. He's not a particularly educated man, but reverse speech seems to have landed.
We good?
Sorry, no, I just put my hand there just so you could.
Okay. Yeah, just I'll be the only person to say cut. So like, if he moves, he's just checking the camera.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Okay. I know it's kind of distracting. I was
Sorry.
So what do I think of David? Do you want to say it again?
I'll ask a different question.
Yeah.
Some people call David a scam artist. How would you respond to that?
If they've met David, they will know that David
So
is...
can you phrase the question into the answer for us?
Okay. Is David a scam artist? Anyone who's ever met David would know that he's for real. You've just got to meet him.
Say perfect segue, just stay.
What's the time?
You gotta go. 10 minutes on stage.
10 minutes, okay, we'll do 3 more minutes of interviews and then we'll do
7:45.
How long? You got 2 minutes
Change
to
lens as well.
change the lens.
Are we going now?
No,
Changing?
3.
Okay.
I got a few more questions. A couple more questions.
You don't want her to you at all? You want her to me?
No, I just don't like this
Okay.
at all. So I'd rather have focus.
Leave that for the Skype one, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Were you skeptical when you first heard about reverse speech?
I was... sorry, next to again. It's really interesting how I came across reverse speech, because in all honesty, it was a trusted friend who texted me a venue. It's a very respectable venue, and he mentioned it was something to do with the unconscious mind, and that's all I knew before meeting David. But sometimes in life you really feel something's right, and every cell in my body felt it was right to go, and I was very, very excited for meeting David. So there's no skepticism at any point in my journey with reverse speech. All along the way it felt right. And there's something so special about reverse speech, because ultimately it's about accessing the truth. And the truth always feels right.
Very good.
Cool. Where do you see the field of reverse speech being in 10 years' time?
The possibilities for reverse speech in the future are so wide-reaching. I think that's possibly the biggest challenge with it becoming widespread. You can see it being used in the medical field with young children and babies, people who have difficulty communicating. You can see it being used in education. You can see it used in politics, dare I stress. You know, wouldn't it be great to know what everyone's really saying?
Do your friends think? What do your colleagues think?
Okay, yeah. What did your family think when you started doing reverse speech? Or started working with David? You can skip if you don't have any.
Yeah, actually, this. Yeah. What did my family think? What did my family think when I? How do I start that?
My family, I think.
Or when I first started working with David, my family were a bit.
Do you know? I think a lot of people aren't quite sure about reverse speech. It's almost like if you're not ready to hear the truth, you can't hear it. But what they have seen with me is they've seen that my life has transformed. That I'm now doing something I completely love, where I'm effortlessly successful, and they know that reverse speech has something to do with that. So they're just happy for me.
Okay, and last question: Do you think David's technology will survive after he dies?
I sincerely hope that reverse speech will survive after David. I say hope because David is 100% committed to this technology. I've never seen anyone so committed, and it would be tragic if it didn't continue after his death. So I hope this film comes somewhere towards supporting that vision.
Perfect. Can you ask me to call in exactly 1 minute?